On February 19, 1945, at exactly 9 a.m., the battle for Iwo Jima began with an unprecedented series of events that would change the course of the war in the Pacific. The invasion, code-named Operation Detachment, involved over 70,000 U.S. troops, among them the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Marine Divisions. As the Marines landed on the southeastern coast of the island, they were met with fierce resistance from the Japanese garrison, led by General Tadamichi Kuribayashi. What happened next was a culmination of heroic acts, strategic mistakes, and the unwavering dedication of the soldiers on both sides. Here's what really happened. The initial assault was supported by a massive naval and aerial bombardment, aiming to weaken the Japanese defenses. However, despite the overwhelming firepower, the Japanese had heavily fortified the island with a network of tunnels, bunkers, and hidden artillery positions. Among the U.S. troops was Private First Class Carlton Chapman, a young Marine from Ohio, who found himself in the midst of the chaos. Equipped with his trusty M1 Garand, Chapman and his unit were tasked with securing the crucial airfields that would serve as a staging ground for further operations against mainland Japan. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the Japanese had not been as weakened as anticipated. Their defenses were cunningly designed, allowing them to inflict significant casualties on the U.S. forces. Among the turning points of the battle was the capture of Mount Suribachi, a strategic high ground that offered a commanding view of the island. The famous raising of the American flag on its summit, an act immortalized in the iconic photograph by Joe Rosenthal, was a moment of immense pride and morale boost for the U.S. troops. However, the victory came at a steep price. The U.S. forces suffered over 26,000 casualties, including nearly 7,000 dead, during the 5-week battle. The Japanese, on the other hand, lost almost their entire garrison of 22,000 soldiers. It was amidst this backdrop of sacrifice and bravery that the critical mistake occurred. A miscalculation in the coordination of artillery support led to a delay in the suppression of key Japanese positions, allowing them to continue their deadly barrage on the U.S. troops. This oversight would ultimately cost the lives of over 800 soldiers, a staggering number that could have potentially been reduced with more precise planning. But then, something unexpected happened. As the Marines pushed deeper into the island, they stumbled upon a hidden Japanese bunker. Inside, they found detailed maps and intelligence reports that revealed the extent of the Japanese defenses. This discovery allowed the U.S. commanders to adjust their strategy, targeting the most critical Japanese positions and eventually breaking through the enemy lines. The battle for Iwo Jima was a testament to the indomitable spirit of the soldiers on both sides. For the U.S., it was a strategic victory that provided a crucial airbase for operations against the Japanese mainland. For Japan, it was a heroic, albeit doomed, defense of their territory. The story of Iwo Jima, with its tragic mistakes and valiant sacrifices, serves as a poignant reminder of the human cost of war and the importance of strategic precision in military operations. As we reflect on the events at Iwo Jima, we are reminded of the countless stories of individual heroism and collective sacrifice that defined the Second World War. From the M for Sherman tanks that rolled through the deserts of North Africa to the P-51 Mustangs that soared through the skies of Europe, each battle and each soldier played a unique role in shaping the outcome of the war. The story of Private First Class Carlton Chapman and the battle for Iwo Jima stands as a powerful tribute to the bravery and resilience of those who fought, and a sobering reminder of the devastating consequences of miscalculation on the battlefield. This is one of many untold stories from World War II, each with its own unique blend of strategic intrigue, human drama, and historical significance. The war, which involved major powers like the United States, Japan, Germany, and the United Kingdom, as well as key locations such as Normandy, Stalingrad, and Guadalcanal, was a complex tapestry of events that shaped the world as we know it today. As we continue to explore these stories, we honor the memory of those who fought, and we are reminded of the enduring importance of understanding the past to build a better future. As the days passed, Private First Class Carlton Chapman found himself growing increasingly accustomed to the harsh realities of war. The sounds of gunfire and explosions had become a constant companion, and the smell of smoke and sweat had become a familiar scent. Despite the chaos that surrounded him, Chapman had developed a sense of focus, a determination to see his mission through to its conclusion. He and his unit had been tasked with securing the western coast of the island, a crucial stretch of terrain that offered a commanding view of the surrounding waters. The Japanese had heavily fortified this area, and the U.S. commanders knew that taking it would be a bloody and brutal fight. Chapman's unit moved cautiously, their eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of enemy activity. They knew that the Japanese were experts at camouflage, and that even the most innocuous-looking rock or bush could be hiding a deadly sniper or machine gun nest. As they pushed forward, the Marines encountered increasing resistance, and the fighting grew more intense. Chapman found himself dodging bullets and artillery shells, his heart racing with fear as he scrambled for cover. Despite the danger, he refused to back down, knowing that his comrades were counting on him to hold their position. The battle raged on for hours, the two sides trading blows in a frenzy of steel and fire. Chapman's unit was taking heavy casualties, and he knew that they couldn't keep this up for much longer. Just when it seemed like the Japanese were about to overwhelm them, a barrage of artillery fire came crashing down on the enemy positions, giving the Marines a much-needed reprieve. Chapman took advantage of the lull to regroup with his unit, assessing their losses and planning their next move. As they caught their breath, he noticed a strange noise coming from a nearby cave. It sounded like the rumble of engines, and Chapman's instincts told him that it might be a Japanese tank. He signaled to his comrades, and they moved cautiously towards the cave, their guns at the ready. As they approached the entrance, a burst of machine gun fire sent them scrambling for cover. Chapman peered around the corner, his eyes locking onto the barrel of a Japanese Type 97 tank. The vehicle was parked just inside the cave, its gun trained directly on the Marine position. Chapman knew that they had to act fast, or risk being cut down by the tank's deadly firepower. He quickly assessed the situation, weighing their options and considering the risks. They could try to take out the tank with a bazooka, but that would require them to get dangerously close to the cave entrance. Alternatively, they could try to flank the tank, using the surrounding terrain to get behind it and launch a surprise attack. Chapman made a split-second decision, signaling to his comrades to follow him as he moved to outflank the tank. They crept around the perimeter of the cave, their hearts pounding in their chests as they waited for the perfect moment to strike. The tension was palpable, and Chapman could feel the weight of the mission bearing down on him. One wrong move, and they would all be killed. But he refused to back down, drawing on every ounce of courage and determination to see them through this desperate fight. As they moved into position, Chapman caught a glimpse of the tank's commander, a young Japanese officer with a look of fierce determination etched on his face. For a moment, their eyes locked, and Chapman felt a jolt of recognition. This was a man who would stop at nothing to defend his country, just as Chapman would stop at nothing to complete his mission. The air was thick with tension as the two enemies sized each other up, each waiting for the other to make the first move. Chapman knew that the next few seconds would be crucial, and that the outcome of the battle hung precariously in the balance. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for the fight ahead, and gave the signal for his unit to attack. The fate of the mission, and the lives of his comrades, hung in the balance.